Hey, what's going on, everybody? Boilon here, and welcome to another Marvel Strike Force video. Now, there's a few things that are actually new today, and so in a way, this is a little bit of a test video. I bought a new mic, so my audio might sound a little bit different than what you guys are normally used to on the channel, and I want to use this as some time to get some feedback from you guys as to how I sound versus for those of you who are regulars on the channel, and maybe you can already tell a little bit about how it feels. And so I'd really love to get some comments in the comments section below about what you think about it, and if there's any specific stuff that as we go through this video that maybe could be adjusted for next time, because I don't have a really good ear for sound, it would seem. So, please let me know in the comments down below what you think about the new mic that I have right now, and whether or not I can change some things for you guys. The other thing today is that I want to talk about this offer that appeared. So I don't know when this showed up, but this Black Friday special bundle. This is this not the logging calendar that we actually have already that we're getting for free? Is that not this? So why are they selling? Was this a mistake? Because that's what people were talking about in my Discord channel. Like, is this a mistake? Were we not supposed to get this login calendar, and it was actually supposed to be a paid one? So why would we go ahead and buy that same thing again? Crazy. I don't know what's going on. Let me know what your thoughts on that are in the comments down below. What are we actually talking about here in today's video? Not login calendars, things like that. I actually want to talk to you guys about what I think. Stop pop-ups. God, hate it. I want to talk to you all about some of the worst characters in Marvel Strike Force. This is going to be a little bit of a fun video, a little bit of a funny video, but I want to talk about all those characters that really have not had their time in the sun. This video is largely intended for new and mid-game players, because I just want to let people know to avoid these characters. Don't upgrade any of these characters. Also, for those of you who are veterans who might just watch this video anyways for fun, I want to kind of talk about some of the characters that really never had a chance. A lot of them actually have been kind of bad from the get-go. But, Marvel Strike Force has done a good job when it comes to reworking some of these characters, but I do want to kind of cover quite a few of them. Could be a little bit of rapid fire going on, depending on how many characters there are that I'm going to be covering in this video. But yeah, this is all about avoiding these characters, and I kind of want to deep dive a few of them. So if you're ready to go, everybody, let's boil this down. Now, this is going to be in no particular order. And the easiest thing that I can do is usually just go right to the bottom of my roster. That being said, a lot of people who have followed me for a while probably would know that I skipped the Nowhere team. And we'll talk about this more tomorrow, because I plan on going over my best characters list for Black Cat, because that's going to be coming on Monday. So I think it's good to know what characters that I believe are the best characters to use for the upcoming Black Cat Trial Round 2. Juggernaut Zombie, we've already talked about him. I'm not really bothering with him. But otherwise, other than that, for veteran players, you can typically look to the bottom of your roster and kind of see characters that really didn't have a lot of fun. Now, there is a lot of characters that did have some use, but there's a lot who did not. Now, I'm usually not here to talk about minions, because some of them did actually get reworked, such as the Kree minion rework alongside Ronin, which I still think is kind of crap, and I kind of wish that they would take Ronin, do something with him. So that's something of an aside. A lot of the hand characters were just flat out garbage, but I do want to point out some character that actually I kind of wish he had some value now, but he did have value when the game first came out. Hand Sentry with Smoke Bomb. So this isn't like a worst characters list. Obviously, don't build him now. But some people did build him like way back in the day, because he was one character that could actually apply evade to all of your characters. And this was very rare and actually pretty OP back in the day. Some of you who are old enough would probably you'd probably remember there was a meta with Ultron, and we called it Hide the Toaster. So the whole point of it was just to like kind of apply stealth to all allies, and also just enough time for Ultron to summon his bots and get the train rolling. So if you're that old, kudos to you. You might remember Hide the Toaster with Hand Sentry. That was his main use for that. But with a lot of the other minions, including a lot of the AIM minions, a lot of the crappier AIM minions, mercenary characters, weren't really that great. Korath the Pursuer, I think he got a slight rework when they... I don't remember. No, maybe he didn't. I thought he got a rework slightly when Ultimus had a weird rework. But again, a character that really didn't get a ton of value in my opinion. There's a lot of characters. One character I really want to point out is Mantis. So, for those of you who aren't old enough in the game, Mantis came out essentially right before Minerva. So Mantis came out, and I forget when this was. This was probably like whenever Captain Marvel movie came out. So this was probably like 2019, maybe. I can't remember. Whenever Captain Marvel came out. Maybe it was 2018. How long has this game been going? I can't remember. Anyways, so Mantis came out, and she was supposed to be a raid healer. I guess it was kind of designed to use Guardians of the Galaxy, the raids, and then the patch immediately after Mantis was Minerva. And for those of you who got to play with Minerva, she was basically the best healer for like a good solid year and a bit. She was great in Dark Dimension because her ultimate gave 15% health steal and then redistribution, which was basically a full heal in Dark Dimension. And every time an enemy died, it would heal the team. She would just like, so we had this BKT you might have heard about as well, best Kree team, and there's no Kree on it, right? Well, other than Minerva, it was like Minerva, Star Lord, Rocket, some tech characters, maybe like Vision, Groot, something like that, and then the whole and Thanos, because Thanos would power his energy into Rocket, and Rocket would just AOE all the time. And with Minerva, she was just one of the best healers. So Mantis really never got that time, and it was really unfortunate. Like I said, I wish kind of Ronan got a rework. Bullseye got a slight rework, but he's still pretty garbage. So when Taskmaster first came out, they reworked the mercenary characters, and I think they gave a slight, because you can see the war defense calls. This stuff is new on war defense assist mercenary allies on non-attack abilities, but it wasn't very good. Bullseye never really got, I honestly thought they were going to rework him as some part of like city villain thing or something better than that. But yeah, Bullseye did not get a lot of fun out of that. Some other tons of aim. I would love, aim did get a rework. However, I wish they would do something more than like now. I know like we're almost never going to get MODOK because they've kind of explained how it would just be too difficult to animate him or something, and that's what I've been told even back when I was an Envoy. Like I heard this time and time again that certain characters would just be very difficult for them to do. Not impossible, but they'd have to put a lot of resources in to actually get that done. So what am I saying so far? Most minions don't bother with them at all. That's kind of one thing. Now, although if when the Archangel event eventually does come back in its permanent form, I'm not saying that you will need to, because we don't know what that looks like. You probably will need at least like 5 minions, because that's what we had to do. But there's lots of better characters that you can use for that. Drax. They even gave him a costume, a holiday costume. But Drax just, I don't know. He just was never. He was good in like the beginning. I don't know, like the first 4 months, 5 months, something like that. And then after that, he just fell off. He was the only Spawn Taunter for a long time, which was great. But now we have like, I don't know, Red Guardian, and which came after, and then Absorbing Man, things like that. And I'm surprised he never got any rework or even alternative version or something. I guess an alternative version wouldn't make a difference because it'd be a brand new character like Star-Lord Annihilation, but at least they would have made a nod to Drax a little bit. Never got any love. That's a little bit unfortunate. And Ultimus, of course, being, like the main kind of character villain of Marvel Strike Force, was maybe still on the cover of the game, and he did get a rework, but it just was not enough. I really think that they should do something to him. I don't know. They kind of like need to do some sort of nod to make him maybe not meta, but like at least usable, right? Like usable in the current context of the game. Would really love that. 2 characters that I wish would get a rework: Toad and Blob. Toad and Blob were a lot of fun. Now, they never got any rework so far. They just had their initial release alongside an updated Brotherhood. So Brotherhood 1.0 came out with Pyro, Sabretooth, and Mystique, Magneto, and forget who the 5th character was. I forget who the 5th character was now. But then they released Toad and Blob, which was then designed as a war offense. Specifically war offense. At least I think they had war off, or maybe not. I don't know. But most people use them in the war offense context, I'm pretty sure. Toad and Blob has particular synergy where Toad would go first, and then Blob, he would give a taunt to Blob. Blob would then, I don't know, copy all positive effects from Brotherhood allies. So he had some pretty neat mechanics. He had like this belly flop AoE attack, which unfortunately only does damage. But this part, so on enemy turn, apply +1 deflect up to a max of 3 to adjacent allies. There was a time where this was considered to be putting Blob on the defense for other characters because it doesn't matter who he's next to. He's still applying deflect to a maximum of a 3 to all adjacent allies, regardless of their tag. So this part is really interesting. He also had like a counterattack mechanic, which then triggered slow from his basic and things like that. You might have encountered Blob in like, I don't know, Dark Dimension 3, something like that. I don't know, somewhere around then you might have fought Blob as an enemy. And yeah, the Toad Blob combo. Also, Toad can extend debuffs, which is really interesting with this special. And technically, that would also work on trauma because it is all negative effects, unlike some abilities where it actually specifies what abilities it cannot work on. So, really wish they would get a little bit of a rework. Some other characters that are not very good: the Fantastic Four. And in this case, we'll put Fantastic Four and Namor. Actually, we'll lump them all together. Where's my Namor? So I want to kind of showcase him a little bit because he did have that the costume, right, as part of the Black Panther 2 movie. And he was actually, so he was a good standalone character at the time. And he was valid for a little while. He had some really good mechanics. I never put the T4s, actually I didn't put any T4s into him. But he did have an insane amount of speed bar reduction in war offense. So 40%, and I believe it does a little bit, 50%. So 50% speed bar reduction on war offense with Namor. This was unavoidable. It could not be countered. And it's unfortunate that their stats just were crap. I'm not even sure how long people actually use these characters for, Namor and the Fantastic Four, but the Fantastic Four deserve, out of any of the ones I've already mentioned so far, if anything, the Fantastic Four deserve a rework. They've had like additional characters come in and out, like they had Doctor Doom, who had some callouts to various Fantastic Four, I think, Fantastic Four characters. For a little while, people used like Invisible Woman for a bit with Doctor Doom, and that was kind of fun, I guess, when he first came out and people got him. Other than that, like, you can see that most of my characters are just sitting at gear tier 12 because they really weren't worth the investment, and it's a little bit of a shame. They initially started off as a Alliance War offense team with Namor, and then eventually into a defense team with She-Hulk, and then, as we know, She-Hulk was moved into the Gamma team eventually at some point. And so Fantastic Four, they definitely deserve a little bit more love, in my opinion, because they've been out for a long time. And it's funny, though. I know what you're saying. There was a rework, right? There was a rework for Thing. Where the hell is my Thing? I don't know. He's like probably way up here now because I did put some investment into him. Oh, okay. Well, I'm not going to go find him. I'm not going to go chase him. But you know that Thing got reworked into the New Avengers. So what does this mean then? Right? That leaves us with however many characters left. Mr. Fantastic, Namor, maybe, Sue, and the Human Torch, right? So it's technically 3 with maybe Namor if they decide to do that at the same time. Maybe not. They might decide to do something else with Namor. So that leaves maybe a possibility of having the Fantastic 3 with 2 new characters, maybe for a reworked version of the team. That's probably what we could expect. Now, when that would happen, I don't know. Maybe closer to the time of whenever something's happening in the MCU related to them, but I would love to see it a little bit sooner. Inhumans. These probably are a set of characters that you haven't even touched. They're probably sitting at your bench at level 1, and there's a good reason for that because they're pretty garbage. Black Bolt's unfortunately still pretty garbage. For those of you who don't know much about the Inhumans, I mean, that's Karnak there. Is he my weakest at this point? Probably, because I have red stars on some of the other characters, I think. Yeah, Crystal. So the Inhumans team weren't actually that bad at the time, but they were designed to counter Ultron, or at least Black Bolt was designed to counter Ultron. So for those of you who don't know the history of Marvel Strike Force and sort of the release cadence and why certain characters came out, Black Bolt came out to essentially counter Ultron, because his ping with his passive, it actually does double damage to tech villain characters, which is essentially a direct call out to Ultron. So unfortunately, this team is definitely a wash. Ironheart OG with power armor. So I'm just going to lump all of power armor outside of Iron Man in this context, although, Iron Man's pretty out of the way now as well because of Project Pegasus. I'm assuming that they're probably not going to see a rework anytime soon. So that would be Ironheart. Actually, sorry, Rescue did see a rework into Project Pegasus, but Ironheart, Falcon OG, and War Machine, those are the characters left over because Iron Man is into, of course, another Bionic Avengers, right? And then we have Rescue that was put into Project Pegasus. Groot. We have this Christmas tree Groot, and yet the Guardians really just have not received like any love. outside of Gamora. You know, I could have just lumped. They're going to be lumped all in here together. So all the Guardians of the Galaxy, essentially, outside of Gamora, who's a part of Infinity Watch. Bit of a shame here that we didn't get to see more. AIM, Graviton, still part of that list. I'd really like to see them get some work. Pyro, the old Brotherhood still. You know, a lot of these characters that I see towards the bottom of my list. Quake was part of the Inhumans as well, and part of Shield, frankly, as well. You know, a lot of these characters, I don't know. I'd love to see them to do more. I think like maybe once, I know they're kind of doing reworks, and so I hope that they continue to do so. And so I would love to see like some of these characters get reworked. You know, at least a set of them per patch. That's what I would love to continue to see. Scientist Supreme, part of the AIM thing. I'm not going to talk about her here, but yeah, there was some value here. But that being said, once we start getting up this high, these are characters that I did typically use at one point or another. I would say if that they were down X Factor. Where's that fifth X Factor? Where's that Richter coming in? I would love to see that happen as well. But now we're getting into the characters that I actually did use for a fair bit, and that there was value at some time or another. It's just these ones down here, like in the G12 and below. There are characters that were never, I would say, hyper meta because clearly I did not actually believe in investing in them. So there's a reason why they were down here. If they're G13, you know, maybe I use them for a little bit. It's just that I don't have good red stars on some of these. Most of my characters are at 5 red though at this point. But yeah, basically anything under my 80k, 90k list. Kind of wish that they would get a rework and touched up a little bit, but for sure, things that I want to see an Inhumans rework with Medusa or Gorgon, things like that. Some additional characters for the Inhumans that they could add there and rework some of the old ones. I would love to see some value on Groot and some of the other Guardians of the Galaxy, like I mentioned earlier on. That's probably on the top of my list alongside the Fantastic Four and AIM. So yeah, basically anything that you've seen on my roster, basically below 100k, is not worth any value at all anymore, including X-Force, unless they get a rework. But we'll see, right? Apparently there's some mutants coming our way in the winter patch, so we'll see what ends up happening there. So yeah, I'm going to close out the video here. I just wanted to share my thoughts of some of the worst characters in Marvel Strike Force, which again tend to be towards the bottom of my roster, and there's a reason for that. Now, again, a lot of this was also a test of my new mic to see how things were going with that. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of the video, what you think of other worst characters that I missed out on, characters that you would like to see reworked, and also some adjustments to my mic if need be to my volume. So let me know all that in the comments down below. Otherwise, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and until next time, stay safe and healthy, and I'll see you all later. Boilon signing out.